Yeah, well, let's talk about Japan, man. So you made a video talking about the passport movement, and prior to going to Japan, you had said, there tends to be this connotation that if you're a passport bro, you're a loser, your sexual market value is low, you can't attract women in your home country, therefore you have to go abroad and, leverage your American passport or Western passport to get action from the opposite gender. But your opinions changed after going to Japan. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it was like being out there compared to the West or the United States?
Sure, yeah. I didn't really get too deeply into the passport movement, but that was my connotation beforehand. I think that's generally just what I picked up.
That's what everyone tends to think.
Yeah, exactly. And I just sort of uncritically went along with that. I didn't look too deeply into it. And when I went to Japan, I had an eye-opening experience. I mean, first of all, Japan's a great culture. I think it's one of the more perfect cultures that we have on this planet today. Things work the way that they should in Japan. Like the streets are smooth. The cities are safe. They don't even lock up their bikes in the major city like Tokyo. It's clean. There's no trash anywhere. The food is fantastic. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. Virtually no crime.
Yeah, virtually no crime. It's amazing. It's a shame-based culture, so there's pros and cons to that.
Shame does work,
there you
man.
Go.
Sure. It's interesting because we have a good friend. His name is John from Modern Life Dating. He's lived in Tokyo for the better part of a decade now at this point, and he's always raved about being in Japan. He's always talked about how he comes to the United States every few years, and he's like, "What the hell is going on?" And he can't wait to get back to Japan. And you're not the first person that's told us about like the enormous difference in culture and how kind of far behind Americans are in the West in general is. Can you take us through some of the things, I guess, some of the biggest things you noticed and differences between here and there?
Sure. I liked it so much, I'm actually going back next week.
Nice.
You're not playing, bro.
I love it there. And I'm going to go and focus on my writing. But a few things that I noticed, especially around the women. The women are gorgeous in Japan. I don't think that most Western women could even buy clothes in Japan. Like, the Japanese woman is slender and light. I think I saw maybe 20 overweight women in a month, and I think most of them were kind of like the old granny type women. I mean, there's almost no overweight women, let alone obese women. I remember when I took the plane back to LAX and I got off, and I was just, you just get used to it, being around it in America all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was quite a rude awakening. So they're slender, they're lithe, they're very feminine. Like the women wear dresses and heels. They're elegant. Like there's a version of femininity there that is celebrated as one thing that a young woman can aspire to. They're very respectful. And there's kind of the opposite of chivalry in Japan. Like just in all the ways that we kind of take for granted that women kind of come first in the West, men come first in that way in Japan. In small things and in big things too. For example, I remember one day I was walking into a public place at about the same time as a woman, and I opened the door reflexively to hold the door open for her, and she refused to walk through it.
Wow.
She made a show of embarrassment and kind of like laughed and said no, because it would have been disrespectful to allow me to disrespect myself in that way by allowing the woman to go ahead of me.
Wow.
I know.
Culture difference, man.
Yo, they really live out why women deserve less out there. That's great, man. Shout out to Japan.
You being a foreigner, being white, did that impact you like at all being in Japan?
I wonder. There's a lot of interesting data about how different races do in the sexual marketplace. And you can break it down in the perceptions of different races as well. And across the board, white men tend to fare the best. And across the board for women, Asian women tend to fare the best. Like they're rated highest by all the different races. So I bet I did have a leg up there, but I don't really have a point of comparison.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I've heard from John about how, racism is kind of, apparent. They call him gaijin or something like that in Japan. Were you ever like refused service or anything like that when you were there?
No, everybody was very friendly and nice to me. They went out of their way to make me feel at home. Many people would just chat me up when I was out at restaurants or at bars. It was a very welcoming and warm place.
They might have thought he was black. That's probably what it was, bro. He's white, so he's good.
So the obesity, man. Like how you know, and I noticed this too last year.
Romania.
Right around this time. Yeah. We were in Romania with the Tate brothers. And don't worry, guys, we'll be back over there. Shout out to Andrew and Tristan. I didn't see any fat women in Romania, dude. Like, I was like, what the hell? You know, a lot of...
We were looking.
You know, and we were actually looking.
Yeah,
and we were there. We were in Romania for damn near a month. Dude, I saw like maybe 3 fat women the whole time. And they were, again, like
older.
you said, older women, right?
Yeah.
So it was, this whole obesity thing, it's an American thing, man.
It's the food. I mean, you go into the 7-Elevens in Japan and they don't have any processed food. They don't have candy. Like they have sushi. And it's like not gas station sushi, you know, you could actually eat it. They have healthy snacks like dried peas. You know, that's what people snack on in Japan. They have much smaller portions. I think they go for taste over quantity, and they don't have a lot of refined sugars. So I think that's a big part of it.
Wow.
I'm not sure that they're really like working off to burn the calories. I'm sure that's becoming more and more popular these days, but I think it starts with the nutrition, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, people just eat less in general in other parts of the world. It's like America, the portions are wild. Okay, so what is your thoughts now on the passport bro movement? Because we get asked about it all the time, man, and we've been.
Again,
tell us about passport bros, blah blah blah. And it's it's what I've always said in general is that. Well, actually, let me hear your take on it, and then I'll give you my perspective. What's your take on it now that you've been over there and you kind of see?
Well, I do think that there's probably some truth to it. Like if you're having some trouble getting a woman or attracting good optionality, you can do geo arbitrage. Like just go someplace where you're
appreciated.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? But it's not just for those guys. Like, who wouldn't want to have a more peaceful, respectful, feminine, easygoing woman?
Yeah.
And I think the usual pushback from the women, oh man, I got some very angry emails all from women after that episode.
Yeah.
Also from Asian women, interestingly. I got a few that reached out that said that I was pigeonholing the Asian women. And I can see that, where I had a conversation with a woman recently about this, where there's these positive stereotypes about Asian women. It's like, don't tell everybody that Asian women are just respectful and submissive, then they're going to come to expect it. It's just like, okay, fair enough. I'm sure not all Asian women are like that, but that's a positive expectation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Women of different races, they have to work against negative expectations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I get that it might be annoying, or maybe there's a pressure to live up to some certain positive expectations, but it's a good problem to have, all things being equal.
Yeah.
Like, is it really that bad that people assume that you're good at math? Like,
Yeah.
I guess if you're not that great at math, it could cause some difficulties, but, she was telling me how she was given a job. She was offered a job as an accountant just because she thinks that she was an Asian woman. And I had to remind her, it's like, the upshot here is that you were offered a job just because of your race. It's like, that's a good problem to have. She says, but I don't want to be an accountant. It's like, I get that, but you got offered a job.
Yeah.
How many
Can you
other
imagine
kinds of women are
going
going
for a job just for being black?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. By
What
the
was
way.
that? Fried chicken tester? Purple drink tester? I mean, you got some purple drink
Pick the
right
grapes,
now.
nigga.
Shout out to Grill of Mine, man. We got some purple drink right now, man.
He's like, yo, no way. No way.
Since it's nigga time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Y'all like
Let's
that?
do it.
Oh, yeah. We got the wing
Grape
spinners,
juice and
too.
brushes, man.
Grape juice and brushes now, baby. Oh, man.
Man.
Link is below. What, Mo? Oh, yeah. RP Strong Stream, guys. We're going to do that tonight, by the way, as well. We're going to cover the top 10 or 20 Red Pill songs.
After the after hours.
After the after hours. So you guys are going to get a three-peat today, man.
But the way I see
Sorry,
it, to
please.
go back to that, which is, I used to think that you would just go to one of these countries like Thailand or Colombia because you couldn't catch fish here in America. But
Right.
like, even master fishermen take their boats to where there's more of the fish that they want to catch.
Yeah.
And they can catch it more easily.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
just because you can, and I do believe that, you can still find quality women in America.
Absolutely.
But it's so much easier to find
Quantity
quality women.
is more over there.
Sure.
And I wouldn't even consider Japan as like a passport, bro. Because normally,
No, it's like
here's a
Thailand.
yeah, they give like a negative connotation to guys that like want to travel to get women. Like, but the thing is with Japan's actually pretty expensive. Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Not right now, man. The yen is very weak against the dollar. So
Oh,
if anybody wants to go
okay.
to Japan, now is an excellent
Now's
time
the perfect
to go.
time to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Since
Things have changed, huh?
inflation, yeah, it's been going. But in general, right? Tokyo
Sure.
has been a very expensive city to be in, which is good that the yen is down now.
Versus Colombia, is super cheap.
Yeah.
Everyone goes there.
Because Japan's a first world country versus like where everyone else goes typically for, passport destinations. Brazil, Eastern
DR.
Europe, DR, Colombia.
Sure, you make
et cetera.
$100,000. It's not that big of a deal, especially in a place like Miami. Oh my gosh, that's you're like just a schmuck here. You know,
the
with
money's
$100,000. But you have $100,000 in Thailand. You're going to be treated like royalty down
It's like
there.
a millionaire.
You're
pretty
king.
much.
Yeah, making $100,000 in Thailand is like you can live like a millionaire in the United States.
And that's the same thing. It's like the hypergamous instinct is more or less universal, right? So women want a significantly better offer. And I think a significantly better offer is generally an order of magnitude. So if a woman is making $100,000, you have to be making 7 figures in this country to represent a significantly better offer for her. And how many men are making 6-7 figures a year?
Yeah,
exactly.
And not only that, I mean, this is a controversial take. This is my opinion, not everyone else here at the table. But I talked about this when I was at Access Vegas. I said men have to work significantly harder for a worse product of female in 2023. I mean, you have to earn significantly more money. You have to be significantly more charming. You have to be more handsome. You have to be more attractive in every regard, right, as a guy in 2023. But what are you competing for? You're competing for women that aren't virgins. You're competing for women that are going to be probably come from a promiscuous past, aren't going to be submissive, are going to be combative, are going to challenge your authority. Like, you have to work way harder, and you're getting a worse product. So it's like, God damn, what am I doing here, right? Versus you go back 7 years ago, a regular guy can work at a steel mill, make, 20, 30 grand a year, be able to raise a family off that, and be pretty rest assured he could find a woman that would be submissive and dutiful to him. But that you can't find that anymore.
Times
it's very
have changed.
difficult.
Yeah. One of the great things about my podcast doing well these days is, and I now do consultations with guys from all over the world.
Nice.
And I was doing a consultation with a guy from, let's say, the Middle East, and he told me that American men are the best men in the world, and we get the worst deal out of any men in the world. More along those lines.
Yeah.
He did the geo arbitrage, but in a very clever way. He targeted, he used Instagram as basically a dating app, and he targeted university girls in his home country. He just sort of looked for people who were posting at the university.
Yeah,
and started to DM them directly. And he
While
was
living in the West.
He was living in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Listen, I called this years ago. You remember, right, bro? What did I say? What's the biggest date app in the world? Instagram.
It's Instagram,
100%.
Yeah.
For sure.